Remedy for your pain, stiffness, and stress. Call now.
Scandals everywhere. Unlimited scandals starting off in Los Angeles, but making its way across the globe to Milan, Italy with, I kid you not, Penisgate. Also, the clip cleanout, one of the favorite times of the week, and who takes more money from the American taxpayer? Is it Americans or not Americans? Unfortunately, it's the latter. All that and more coming up. We have a great show for you today. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jobob. The show starts right now. It's amazing how many things that people in power think that they can get away with. And interestingly enough, even sometimes the libs call out their own, as the LA Times did with the mayor of Los Angeles and what looks like to be a massive cover-up. Before we get to that, I want to tell you, tpt@tpusa.com is the email address if you'd like to send along your thoughts, comments, concerns, even criticisms. Those are welcome here as well. tpt@tpusa.com. What do you think about any of the stories that we talk about here? Do you have any thoughts? Our mailbag segment is in the 5th segment of the show, in which we read those emails, and if those emails are gross, disgusting, bigoted, and downright nasty, it'll actually fit in with the premise of this entire operation that we've got going on here. So you actually might be more likely to be read. tpt@tpusa.com is that email address if you'd like to send along your thoughts, comments, and concerns. Oh, that's right. Have to also mention, what are you doing Sunday? Well, what you should be doing is watching the All-American Halftime Show. You can watch it pretty much anywhere. Right here on Real America's Voice. You can watch it on Turning Point's social media accounts, X, Rumble, YouTube even. You can also watch it on Daily Wire Plus. OAN, I believe, is carrying it. Pretty much everywhere. If you just flip the channel a couple times, you'll probably land on it. The TPUSA All-American Halftime Show. I'm authorized to promise this to you. This one will be in English. No subtitles required. You will be able to understand the entirety of the All-American Halftime Show, as it will be in the language that everybody in this country speaks, and not in Spanish. So there you have my promise that the All-American Halftime Show will be in English. You can watch that again this Sunday, anywhere really where you watch pretty much anything. It'll be fantastic. Kid Rock leading the brigade. And it's going to be a good time. So make sure you tune in to the All-American Halftime Show this Sunday. You know, I'm going to call an audible here. Producer Glenn, are you ready for this? I'm not. This is all shake. Here's what I've decided in my own head while making those announcements. It's Friday. Let's have some fun. It's a Friday. Let's have some fun. Let's eat dessert first. Let's be a little irresponsible. The clip clean out is my favorite part of the week here. If you're not familiar, it's when we clean out all the clips that we didn't play through the rest of the week. Because we organize quite a bit, and sometimes I may or may not banter a little bit longer than I probably should. And we don't have time for everything. So on Fridays, we have the clip clean out. It's usually segment 4, but today there's quite a bit there. And interestingly enough, there's also kind of a theme that tends to build in this particular clip clean out. So we're going to do dessert first. Well, the scandal will still be there in the second segment. We will talk about Mayor Karen Bass in LA and trying to cover up some reporting re the Palisade fires. But let's do it. It's Friday. We're going to have a fun time. Let's start the clip clean up here with, let's see. The theme is socialism and the stupidity of it. That's effectively the theme going on here. They're organized in such a way that it draws its own narrative, meaning that there's the ramifications of socialism, then there's the socialists themselves, and then the people on the ground who have ridiculous beliefs of how the world works, and even some sane libs. I'll stop talking about it. Let's get right to it. This is cut 7 on the clip cleanout. The trash in New York City has begun to pile up, and that comes as a total and utter shock to absolutely no one. Cut 7.
I just want to give a congratulations to our newly elected, amazing, wonderful mayor, Kwame Mami Bamdani. Everything's under control. The streets are all clear. Garbage is all being picked up. It's on schedule. It's every 3-4 weeks. They come by, they pick up some garbage. They're following the sanitation procedures of Cuba. It's going to be beautiful. Just get nose plugs in case the weather starts smelling. There's not that much garbage. Poquito, poquito.
That's a fantastic troll there of a New Yorker looking at all the trash piling up. We did this story a while ago. Unfortunately, the pitfalls of socialism have befallen New York City. Not only is there trash piled up on the streets, the snow hasn't been plowed. There are thousands of people without heat in New York City. I believe it said tens of thousands of people in the article I read. I think it was in the New York Post. But again, who could have seen this coming? This is blindsided all of us. It's shocking. It's unbelievable. How could this possibly happening with a socialist mayor? Now, the problem is, how do I put this kindly? Being a socialist, if that were the only thing that Ma'am Danny was, that would be better than what he actually is. Here is Ma'am Danny in a speech that I believe he gave today, talking about, well, I'll just play you the clip and let you come to your own conclusions, and then we'll discuss briefly after that. This is cut 8.
The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world. Or as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange. So glad tidings to the strangers.
If only he was just a socialist, but he's not. He's also an Islamic extremist. Well, let me put that charitably. It's possible that he might be an Islamic extremist. I don't think he's participated in any of those things as of yet. I'm just, keeping an open mind here that could be a possibility. But quoting there from the Quran. So again, I wish the only thing that he was a socialist. Unfortunately, it seems to go a little bit further than that. And there are some people, even on our side, that say, well, hey, Constitution specifically says freedom of religion. You're allowed to practice whatever religion you want. And that's true, but I think we've talked about it a number of times on this show. Generally speaking, the founding fathers were kind of set on, oh yeah, we all agree Christianity is, the dominant religion here. We just don't want the government to pick sides between, Presbyterians and Catholics and Methodists who are touching on the edge of do we still include them? Anyways, it was all of these different sects of Christianity, and that was kind of the meaning behind the whole freedom of religion thing. And I'm not saying you want to necessarily be a Christian state. That's not even the argument I'm making here. The point I'm making is, yeah, you can do the idea of, well, every religion is welcome here and everything is totally fine and everything is the same. The problem is that's just factually not true. Find me the Muslim countries around the world, then compare those to the Christian in culture, not the, government-run Christian countries, of which I don't know that there are many, and just compare and contrast, right? Just compare and contrast the Christian Western countries with the Islamic countries. Let me know if you find some, major differences in the lifestyles and the economic advancements and, well, really any other way of life that happens to be better in the Muslim countries. My guess is that you probably won't find many. So that being said, I wish the only thing that Mom Donnie was, sorry, I mispronounced it, Moron Sam Danny. I wish the only thing that he was a socialist. Unfortunately, it's gone further than that. The problem is you have several people in New York City that prop up the socialist idea. And you kind of think, who are these people that think this way? Well, unfortunately, it gets a little bit scarier because our friend Nate Friedman, I don't know if I call him a friend. I'm sure he would be a friend. He's never been on the show, but that's usually how I describe people that have come on the show. A guy who is friendly to conservative causes was interviewing somebody on the streets of New York City and gives a perfect example of the type of person who is deluded enough to think that Ma'am Danny is a good idea. This is cut 9, an actual... Ma'am Danny's at the top, but all the people on the bottom, that's the actual problem, because the more people believe this sort of stuff, the more people are going to want to try and implement it, and the more they try and implement it, the worse it gets for everybody in New York specifically, but people more broadly who continue to accept a system that has never once worked. This is cut 9.
What do you say to those folks who say, well, if you tax millionaires, they're going to leave the city, and the top 1% pays 40% of the taxes in the city, so what happens if they leave? What's your response?
Well, that's what I would say. It's like we should take their business, and we run it like for the city ourselves.
So if they take their business to Florida, you feel like you can keep it here?
I mean, they can't leave the building. They can't just bring their whole entire workforce to Florida, right? They can't bring all of the resources that they have to build the business here to Florida, right? That's a whole thing. And that's where you would even say, if we're building a real movement, right, to stop that, we'd also make it illegal for them to actually leave, right? We would fine them to hell if they're going to try to abandon their property here, right? Because clearly people do need to work, right? People do need to make a living.
So that's Charles Berry, and while that might have been one of the craziest things I've ever heard in hundreds of street interviews, what matters more is that he's a teacher for New York public schools.
Good Lord. So this is the actual problem. Unfortunately, the guy currently sitting in the mayor's office in New York City is just what happens when too many people think the way that guy does. I don't even necessarily need to know if we need to go into the details of what he said, but you're going to basically kidnap billionaires. That's what he's saying. Well, we're not going to let them leave. I think that's kidnapping. Oh, you're going to find them out of it. Okay, then they just won't do business anymore. What I fail to understand is how people fail to recognize that the profit motive and incentives are a thing. And you can hate the rich all you want. I mean, I don't. You can demonize success all you want. But at the end of the day, those people are the job creators. An economy is not just it doesn't pop out of nowhere. Economy doesn't grow on a tree and you can. I went outside today to the economy grove and I picked some nice economies. No, the economy is made by people. The only reason that there are resources is because people have produced those resources. And if you disincentivize, or at the very least don't incentivize, in this case, this guy's trying to disincentivize it by saying we're going to kidnap billionaires and keep them here effectively, you're not going to have any resources. I fail to recognize how people think that this is a good idea. Now, fortunately, I guess, well, at the very least, it's interesting nonetheless to see kind of the coalition that's been built around the right and the free market people and the people that have decided that personal freedom and not, being kidnapped and held hostage in a city that is being run by somebody who wants to steal all of your money, all of these people who think this sort of thing, at the very least, the coalition being built on our side is in part due to some people who probably had some of those ideas in the past, or at least had a leftward slant to their politics, that are seeing the politics of people like that, unfortunately, New York City school teacher, and saying, I didn't change my beliefs. The party left me. Bill Maher is famous for saying this. And a clip from earlier this week that I wanted to play but never got time to get on, but fits in perfectly right here, is from Palantir CEO Alex Karp. Now, we're not going to talk about Palantir. Remove all of that for right now for this discussion. I want you to listen to what he's saying. I believe this is at the New York Times book thing. And he's talking about what happened to the normal libs and what also happened to the quote-unquote progressive movement, if you can even call it that anymore. This is Cut 10. This is the CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp, who probably 30 years ago would be a hardcore lib and is now, because his party has left him entirely and people like that guy on the street represent his party, has effectively become a politically right figure. Watch this Cut 10.
About you for a second and your own politics and your shift in politics. By the way, there's a piece in the Washington Post about you this morning that gets into some of this. You grew up
only because I have great respect for you. I don't interrupt you immediately. I didn't shift my politics. The political parties have shifted their politics. The idea that what's being called progressive is in any way progressive is a complete farce. I've been progressive since the beginning of Palantir. I'm continuing to be progressive. I grew up in a highly intellectual, mostly Jewish, incredibly left-wing environment. And every Saturday and every Friday, I heard a lecture about how the conservatives are going to destroy this country with illegal immigration because it's going to undermine the fabric of the American worker. That was 50 years ago. That's what it means to be a progressive. Being progressive doesn't mean just, it feels so good to be involved in dysfunction, things that can never work, a form of socialism that's never worked, having no meritocracy. That's not progressive. That's honestly cowardly. And most people, half my old party knows it. They don't speak up. It's bullshit. It will never work. And it does not help. You know, the biggest problem with that is it's not helping the poor people that they claim to serve. If you think that's helping a black person in the inner city, you're ridiculous. The last thing anyone in this country needs is a dysfunctional educational system and handouts that have never worked and are not going to work.
Now, there's a lot to be said, but he makes the point pretty well, so I don't need to belabor on it too much. I just want to touch on two things. What he said at the beginning of, well, why in the world would we, the progressives, I'm not talking about we, but I'm speaking as if I were him, who want the uplifting of the lower class in this country, import a bunch of people to do the jobs that the lower class of the society that we currently have would do? Why would we import a bunch of people to take those jobs? That doesn't make any sense. Case in point, Cesar Chavez, who has a day, Cesar Chavez Day, the organizer in California, mostly around agriculture and farming, but also just unions more broadly, was the biggest anti-illegal immigration person out there. He used some terms to describe the illegals in this country that I won't even use now. So that is a major point that the left has flipped on. For some reason, now we want to import a bunch of people that will undermine the fabric of the American workforce. How in the world is that in any way progressive? The second thing is he makes the point of two. Yeah, but in what way are any of the policies that we're pushing for, quote unquote, progressive anymore? One that comes to mind to me is the idea of canceling student debt. Canceling student debt is the least progressive thing that progressives have ever pushed for. Senator Liz Warren talks about this a lot. We have to cancel student debt because we are progressives and we think that that should be ubiquitous across everyone. People who have college degrees, just statistically, I'm not even saying that those people are better or worse. Statistically, they make more money. If you have a college degree, by the numbers, statistically, you will earn more throughout your lifetime than somebody who doesn't. In other words, if you have a college degree, you are not at the bottom of the totem pole. You're at the very least the middle. You could be potentially at the top. So what the progressives are doing is saying, we are going to help the people who statistically have a financial advantage get out of their student loan debt and not help anybody else. I mean, they want to help other people, but this being the talking point, it is the least progressive thing that progressives have ever done. If they wanted to do something for people who are financially struggling, I'm not even a proponent of this. I'm just saying this would be a better cause for them. Cancel the car loan debt of the single mom who is trying to pay off a 5-year-old car. That's more progressive. I'm not for that. I'm just saying the idea that, quote unquote, the progressives are looking out for the downtrodden is, in his words, ridiculous. I might have used another R word, a word that affectionately has been thrown at Tim Walz. I'm just saying that's what I would do. But at the end of the day, the quote unquote progressives are no longer in any way, shape, or form progressives. Unfortunately, the cultural mind virus that has infected the left continues to permeate itself through leadership in various cities, not even just in the United States of America, but Western cultures more broadly. Here is a video of a woke city council person or a mayor somewhere, I believe in Canada, renaming a park for the indigenous tribe that once was there. Just play the cut. This is cut 11, a Canadian park being renamed.
Hence the name Eta Nona Wastina. It translates to where they lived good and beautiful lives. Learning to say the name is just a small way we can all be accountable to healing our relationship with our nation's first peoples. So let's go. Try it with me. Eta Nona Wastina. Eta Nona Wastina. Eta Nona Wastina.
I don't know how much needs to be said here other than the fact of what are we doing? Just as a Western society, okay, make the park name more difficult to pronounce and unrelatable to anybody. That you're sticking it to them there, lady. Yeah, I won't go off on that tangent, but I'll spare because I do want to get to this clip. Unfortunately, this has become, like I said, ubiquitous amongst many of the libs, and to clean up, to round out, finish off the clip clean out, I regret to inform you that the libs are singing again. This is also a clip that's been floating around the last couple of days. Haven't had time to get to it on the show, but I think this is a perfect way to end this clip clean out segment, which I think had a nice little narrative arc to it. That was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. Appreciate you sticking around with my total and utter audible here, and producer Glenn doing a great job pulling up the clips as they come. But here to round it out, again, I regret to inform you the libs again are singing. Cut 12.
De-ice our neighborhoods, invite our neighbors in. I'm gonna de-ice our neighborhood, invite our neighbors in. We're gonna heal this world with love. Tear down the fences. Gonna tear down the fences, invite my neighbors in. I'm gonna tear down the fences, invite my neighbors in. I'm gonna tear down the fences, invite my neighbors in. I'm gonna heal this world with love. Who's got a verse? All right, we're gonna de-ice our neighborhood again.
I just have to believe there's one guy in that crowd that you see right now who's going, what am I doing? What is this? I have to believe that for my own sanity. Maybe I'm being optimistic here, but what in the world? Also, side note, how did we lose the arts culture to these freaks? Like, how are they the musicians and artists of our culture and society? I also, too, really like the fact that she's like, all right, you sing a verse. And I was like, what? Anyways, we're in an interesting time. I think that doesn't need to be said, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway. We're in an interesting time here in this country. And the only way we can take it back is to continue to promote the ideas of freedom, the ideas that this country was founded on, the ideas that the free market is a good thing and incentivizes people to make good and awesome things, and point out that lefty, quote-unquote, progressivism in most all cases is just regression into, I don't know, a world where libs feel good about themselves despite not having helped anyone. I appreciate you bearing with my change of plans here. It's kind of on the fly. We will get to the LA mayor and the scandalous cover-up that it looks like she's alleged to be at the head of. Also, who takes more in this is what I'm warning you. We did dessert first. We're gonna have to do the meat and potatoes next. The scandal coming out of LA, the scandal coming out of the Olympics in Milan regarding Penisgate, and also whether or not immigrants, illegal or otherwise, take more from the American taxpayer than Americans. TPT at TPUSA.com if you'd like to send us an email. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch Season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word Rav Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text Rav Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at Rav.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
We do. Who makes the post? We do. Who makes the post? We do. Who makes the post? We do. Welcome, Ben Brash.
So that's Washington Post yesterday, I believe. They laid off 300 people. Maybe that was Wednesday. Regardless, these are a bunch of angry journalists who lied about things for a living under the guise of journalism at the Washington Post. Interestingly enough, I believe it was Ben Shapiro that pointed out, hey, 300 people got laid off at the Washington Post. A couple weeks ago, 30,000 people got laid off on Amazon, from Amazon. Not really comparing the two companies other than the fact of, well, why did the Washington Post layoffs get so much media coverage? For some reason, the media only cares about when their jobs are on the line. Those people that worked at Amazon, driving packages, whatever it is that they were doing, those people, doesn't matter. I mean, again, business is business, so, sometimes things happen. But these people feel like for some reason they have a right to exist, and that Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, if you don't know, is required or should be required to continue to pay them to not report the news and just make things up. So there's that. Let's see. Speaking of lib newspapers, this was actually really, really interesting story breaking yesterday about the LA mayor, reported by the Los Angeles Times of all places. Now, if you're unfamiliar, the Los Angeles Times is not a right-wing conservative outlet. I know that might be a shock to you. It's not, but Los Angeles Times is uncovering something that could end up being a massive scandal in the city of LA. LA Mayor Karen Bass allegedly secretly modified the official Palisades Fire After Action report to minimize the city's failures in various departments, specifically the fire department failures. Bass reviewed, allegedly, the allegedly covers the entire thing. I'm not trying to get sued here, but at the same time, I'm just going to say it without saying allegedly, because the LA Times is probably pretty buttoned up on this. Usually when libs go after libs, there's not like a huge wiggle room for, I don't know if this happened. The LA Times seems pretty buttoned up on this. Bass the mayor of Los Angeles reviewed an early draft and requested that key findings about the LAFD shortcomings be removed entirely or softened just a bit to make them look better. She warned the then interim fire chief, Ronnie Villanueva, that the original conclusions could create legal liability for the city. You know why? Because the way in which that she and her fire department acted could cause some legal liability for the city. So if the report, reflects that would be bad for us. So we don't want the report to reflect that. So maybe we should just change it. Advisors to Karen Bass warned her that making these changes was a bad idea and could damage her political career. In Karen Bass's defense, don't know how much damage you can do to your political career. I just, you were in wherever she was in Africa, Zimbabwe, wherever she was during the Palisade fires, just off on some mission because the LA people, the people of Los Angeles, have deep-rooted ties to some African nation for some reason. I think, was it Uganda? I'm not sure where she was. TBT at TPUSA.com if you remember where she was during the fires. I know I could also look it up, but, we're doing a show. I guess in her defense, she's probably like, my political reputation can't be damaged much further than that. Ghana, there we go. Producer Glenn coming in clutch with the fact checks. Despite these warnings, Mayor Bass held back the draft until the modifications were entirely completed. The October report removed a section from an earlier version that revealed the LA Fire Department failed to fully staff or pre-deploy all available crews despite forecasts of catastrophic winds because the strategy didn't align with the city policy. In other words, the city says, I know there's some pretty difficult prospects going on here weather-wise, but I don't know. The unions have got us all buttoned up. We don't want to spend the money, and it'll probably be fine. Spoiler alert, it wasn't fine. I'm not trying to make light of the Palisade fires in any way, shape, or form, but that's effectively what the LA City Council, the LA mayor was doing when not putting these people on deployment when they knew this was a massive potential. And this isn't even including the water shortages there. Dang it, we had a story earlier on in the week where a couple was being forced to pay $15,000 to get a fire hydrant because their rebuild of their home was too far away from the closest fire hydrant, to which I was reading that and going, well, that assumes the fire even if you take out the fact that this is crazily unfair, you're telling these people they can't build their house because they need to pay $15,000 for a closer fire hydrant. If you remove all of that, it's even, the fire hydrant has to have water in it, which is a huge problem also in the Palisade fires. The modified report from that Bass said that we'll get to her claims after this. The modified report instead praised the department leaders for exceeding expectations with their standard pre-deployment matrix. In other words, basically trying to say, it didn't happen. Let's change the report to make sure that it didn't happen. That, lying. But, if somebody is willing to lie about the report itself, wouldn't they also lie about the changing of the report? In other words, when confronted by reporters asking, hey, did you do this? Here was Mayor Karen Bass's response. This is cut 6.
Absolutely no reason or desire that I would want to water down this report. What would be the purpose of covering up a report that I ordered?
Let's go ahead and leave her on there right there because it's nice to look at the face of evil, or at least one of the many faces of evil in LA Mayor Karen Bass. Why would she have any incentive? I don't know, maybe again, like her advisor said, that it might be politically damaging. Maybe it could be legally damaging. Maybe it could open up the city to legal liability if the report doesn't come back saying, yeah, you guys did this exactly perfect. If the report came back, as it did, there's some pretty big culpability here from the leaders of the fire department and the mayor's office. Maybe those people might be tried and charged and possibly serve jail time, maybe punished for what they did. Maybe gross negligence is a thing and you'd be removed from office at the very least, but even further could face criminal charges. Why would she have any incentive? Why would she do that? I don't know, maybe because the insurance companies that are covering for all of this stuff might seek penalties for her and the management there. Maybe because the people of Los Angeles want some sort of accountability. Why would she possibly do that? Except for all of the reasons that she would want to do that. It, honest to God, is unbelievable. The Palisade fires destroyed more than 16,000 homes and structures, resulting in about $150 billion in damages, and claimed 12 lives. The mayor has consistently denied any involvement in editing the report, as you just saw, but considering the fact that it's coming from a lib outlet attacking one of their own libs, I would say that it's probably pretty buttoned up. She's obviously faced a bunch of criticism for being out of the country when the fire started and for causing a bunch of evacuation confusion, kind of saying, hey, you go here, you go there, not having a really coherent plan at all. But she's also under fire for reducing the city fire department budget by nearly $18 million prior to this horrible disaster. Bottom line here is that if somebody is willing to lie about a report, clearly they would also be willing to lie about the cover-up that they allegedly not only participated in, but enacted themselves. So what do we think? TPT at TPUSA.com. Do you think, one, Mayor Karen Bass did alter this report as reported by a lib outlet? And two, do you think she'll be held accountable in any way, shape, or form? Maybe be removed from office, maybe have criminal charges pressed against her. Unfortunately, because it's in the state of Corruptifornia, the nation's poopiest state governed by Governor Hairspray, I think that's probably unlikely. I wish I wasn't as cynical as I was, but I think the chances of her facing any sort of consequences is very slim. TBT at TPUSA.com if you happen to think otherwise, or if you happen to agree that she'll probably get off scot-free here. But like I said, since we started off with dessert with the clip clean out, we're going to do some more hard... It's not investigative. It's just actually quite interesting. Who takes more from the taxpayer in terms of welfare? Is it immigrants, both legal and illegal, because libs love to conflate the two, or is it American-born households? The question will be answered after the break. TBT at TPUSA.com. We'll be right back after this.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch Season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love Real America's Voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
Hey guys, my name is Jeff. I'm from Massachusetts. I love RAV because of the free speech and the political wranglings that go on in the chat every day.
me ask you a quick question. We're trying to get back undocumented people who were deported by ICE. Do you support that?
Of course I do.
Can we get your signature real quick? We're part of the Bring Them Back campaign. Specifically, Darwin Vasquez Ramos, who was deported in Maryland this week. And I do have to tell you, he was convicted of third-degree sex offense, but we think he deserves a second chance.
Okay.
Could we just get your signature? And what do you think about what's going on with ICE right now?
Well, it upsets me very much. We don't look like our country anymore.
We don't look like our country.
Yeah.
If you support bringing him back to the U.S., he needs a place to stay. Could he come and stay with you?
No, I don't have any place for him to stay.
You don't?
But you have my signature.
Thank you.
I can't believe she still signed it after that. And then, she did say something true. She said, we don't look like our country anymore. That's why we need ICE to get a bunch of the illegals out, because they're not adapting to the culture, assimilating to the values of our country, or learning the language or anything like that. So correct. That's actually, we don't resemble the same country that we were, a couple decades ago. So that's clearly bad, and that's why we want all the illegals gone. So she did say something true, but then said signing it anyway. You don't have to do that. You could just be like, never mind. Crazy. Exactly what I'd expect from the libs. But speaking of illegal immigrants, and also just immigrants just more broadly in general, because I think the conversation has shifted. I think prior to the most recent kind of political cycle, 20 years ago, I think everybody would have been like, if you want to come here legally, you're more than welcome to do so. You got to go through the process. But at this point, the process is so convoluted, and people claim refugee status or all of the various ways that they get into the country. There is some pretty decent argument as to why we shouldn't let really anybody come here for a while. Now, the obvious counterpoint is, well, how are we going to fund our pyramid scheme that is Social Security? It's not getting propped up by any of these people coming to the country. Well, that would assume that the people coming into the country are participating in the labor force and providing the tax offset that we aren't creating with having kids. This is part of the reason why Elon Musk thinks that the lack of fertility in this country is a bad thing. That's why Charlie kept saying, get married, have kids. That's why everybody thinks, if you're an American, if you're a Westerner, have more kids. That's the only way we can get out of any of this. But that being said, really interesting report coming out of the Center for Immigration Studies, which is an independent, nonpartisan, nonprofit research organization. They just published a study comparing welfare usage from immigrant-led households to U.S.-born households. The data primarily comes from the U.S. Census Bureau in 2024, surveyed income and program participation. Overall, broadly speaking, 53% of all immigrant-headed households, and again, a lot of that is combined, but in this case, there are some separations. 53% of all immigrant-headed households used at least one major welfare program, compared to 37% of U.S.-born head of households. For non-citizen heads of households, in other words, illegal, the rate was actually even higher than that at 59%. To break it down, households headed by legal immigrants, but non-citizens, had a 51% usage rate, while head of households by illegal immigrants showed 61% usage. There's a graphic that goes along with this that you can kind of see. The red is the illegals, the green is the legals, and the legals, as in they migrated to the United States, but they're not citizens yet, I believe. And the blue being the U.S. As you can see, people who come into the country and generally don't speak the language or learn the culture tend to take more from the American taxpayer, which kind of provides a pretty good argument against the idea that, well, since we're below replacement rate, we got to import a bunch of people because our birth rate isn't enough to keep up with, honestly, the Social Security pyramid scheme. That's really what all of this hinges on. We can't do all the government programs if our birth rate is below replacement level. So to offset that, let's import a bunch of people. The problem is the people that we're importing are taking from the system too. The only reason we're importing them is because we don't have enough kids. Therefore, we can't prop up our social services. So let's import a bunch of people to help offset that cost through tax revenue, through workforce, and they'll help us reach our goals. Unfortunately, the problem is not only are they not helping, they're actually taking away substantially. I asked a question, I believe, of ChatGPT a while ago, of what percentage of illegal immigrant households pay federal income tax. and it gave me some ridiculous, it was like 20%. They make up 20% of the overall federal tax income revenue. I was like, there's no way that's true. I don't have it at the top of my head here, but I went back and refound it, and it was like the Center for Immigration Equity or something like that gave that ridiculous number that chatbot pulled from. I think this is really just a lesson is, hey, you can't trust the chatbots. Let's go to one more graph here. I believe this is graphic 3. Actually, this is a table. The blue on this delineates the table for welfare programs where immigrant usage rate is higher than U.S. born is in blue. The green highlights the program where immigrants use less than the U.S. born. If you'll notice, we don't need to get into all of the different statistics here, but the majority of it is blue. In other words, immigrants, illegal and otherwise, tend to use substantially more resources than U.S. born heads of households. So there's that. Do with that what you will. Like I said, usually we probably do this at the front of the show. I know it's late on a Friday. First of all, thank you for continuing to watch. I recognize that this is, I don't know, a little bit more meaty than we probably do on a Friday, but trust me, oh man, I had a joke pop into my head that I will not say. It revolves around the term meaty and the next segment's topic. Probably shouldn't have even said that. Stick around. Next segment, we will get back to Tawdry Friday nonsense with Penisgate. I kid you not. I'm not trying to be shocking for the sake of being shocking. That is literally what this is probably looking like as far as the Olympic goes. I will explain that coming up after the break. tpt@tpusa.com is the email address if you'd like to be included in our mailbag segment. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love Real America's Voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
I would say in my lifetime, I've probably eaten at least 1.5 couches to 2 couches of cushion. It's no go, no more, can't use that. So if I do these little chunks, they're like little bite size, little snack size. I know that it's not healthy. I've already had some health problems because of it. It caused a blockage in my lower intestine to where the doctors almost had to go in and cut the part out where the sponge was blocked. A sponge gumbo. Ooh.
I mean, there's probably a lot to say about this guy's mental health, and it's we probably should pray for this guy. But also, this is a very, very good case against single-payer healthcare. In no way, shape, or form should I or you be required to pay for this guy's healthcare. If you're going to eat a couch and have a blockage in your lower intestines, sorry, I don't particularly care to front the bill for your healthcare costs. This guy has the same voting power as I do. I'm mad at this. Let's go to this. Speaking of ridiculous nonsense, it is Friday, and this is probably a little too. I don't want to be grotesque. I'm not trying to be shocking in any way, but this has been making its way around the internet. Figured this is the perfect time and the perfect context to address this in. Penisgate has become a thing. I'm sorry to say it, but long jump skiers are allegedly injecting their male genitalia with hyaluronic acid, I believe that's how you pronounce it, to increase the size so that when they're measured by 3D scanners, they could potentially get a looser suit. Okay, so we see these pictures of these guys, right? They're in like these skin-tight suits. They don't like the skin-tight suits. I learned all of this. I did too much of a deep dive on this. I'm sorry. But it's actually kind of interesting. They don't like the skin-tight suits. They like the long jumpers like loose suits. In the same way that a sail kind of catches the wind, they want more fabric. And they have decided the way that they can potentially squeeze the system into giving them a little bit more fabric to cast a little bit bigger of a sail, to catch some more wind, to get some more length on their jump, is to inject acid into a part of their body that they're trying to enlarge that part. I don't want to be tawdry. I'm sorry for it, but this is crazy. Also, side note, not really a side note, just kind of another thought, probably. Friday. Again, I apologize. I'll just say this. There are other ways to inflate. I'll just leave that there. Interestingly enough, research from the scientific journal Frontiers published last October. Producer Glenn is laughing. I'm trying not to laugh myself, but I think he understands what I was saying about that particular area. Interestingly enough, published in October, said that 2 centimeters additional change in the suit represented a possible extra 5.8 meters in the length of the jump, which actually is pretty significant. In other words, if you can get your suit just 2 centimeters bigger, there's a good likelihood that you could win. And I'm not justifying it all in any way, shape, or form, but I can see why you would take some pretty ridiculous measures to get that extra 2 centimeters. I apologize for having to even say that, but the whole thing, this is a massive story on X right now. People going, what? But, such is competitive nature. The competitive nature of the Olympics has brought that out. We will be right back after the break with our mailbag segment, tpt@tpsa.com, if you'd like the chance of being included. And if your email or your comment is disgusting and vile and bigoted and all the bad things, it'll actually fit in probably pretty great on this show. tpt@tpsa.com. We'll be right back after the break.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75800 7582. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Poyo04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love Real America's Voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
Who the first president of the USA was?
George Floyd. I mean, his name is George, though. I just don't know the last
Washington.
name.
How many inches are in 2 feet?
I don't know.
Around how many inches? If you had to guess.
5.
Yes. If you're walking north and then all of a sudden you turn right, what direction are you facing?
So if I'm going, say that again real quick.
You're walking north and then you just make a hard right. What direction are you facing? 90 degrees to the right.
Is it south? No, it's not south. West?
Yes.
It should be harder to vote. I'm sorry. It should just be all American citizens should have the ability to do so. And also, it's too easy. All right. Wow. Now that I'm in a sour mood here, let's get to the mailbag. TPT@TPUSA.com. If you'd like to send along any of your thoughts. Yesterday, I solicited a bunch of thoughts, whether people thought that it was a good idea for Homan to pull some troops, some agents out of Minnesota. I believe he pulled 700 out, which is still leaves way more in Minnesota than there were normally. This is still part of the surge. It could be redirecting things. And, some people think that's a good idea. Some people think it's a bad idea. My stance is, hey, as long as the deportation numbers are high, I'm cool with it. Paul seems to agree, says, I think it's a wise move because the optics of all the street struggles and fights between ICE and protesters being shown on the news look pretty bad. Yeah, it is a political move. Barb happens to disagree. That's fine. She said, I think it's a bad move. There's no data showing that any of the corrupt politicians cooperating with ICE and the protesters are not being arrested for breaking the law, putting up barricades. All the illegals need to go. I can see both sides of this. If you'd like to, further any arguments, appreciate it. TPT@TPUSA.com. And yeah, there's that. On the topic of California, we talk a lot about California. I think it's because actually we'll get straight to Michael's email. He one starts off by asking, hopefully this is offensive enough. Michael, it was offensive enough to acquire the attention of those who read the email. It says California. Basically, I'm just trying to summarize what he said. California, he thinks, is potentially the training ground for lib a-holery. I would happen to agree. Seems to be the case. A lot of the a-holery comes out of the poopiest state. I'm sorry. D, on the topic of IDs, you need an ID to get a library card. Why would you not need one to vote? On that same topic, Catherine says, I remember when I was getting my driver's license, I had to show the DMV 5 different forms of identification showing who I was. So maybe that should apply to votes. Correct. Napalm with the... I'm just going to read it. Hey, on the topic of that crazy lady who apparently allegedly claims to be a pastor, says, I cannot believe that lady stood at the podium and said, Jesus wants you to end babies' lives. Yeah, I can't believe that's, honest to God, the most unbelievable thing I think we've seen in a while. So there's that. That's going to do it for us here at Turning Point tonight. Appreciate